so that it is available for anyone who cannot be available tonight. All right, so my name is Mrs. Cervantes, and I am your child's 5th grade teacher this year. So a little bit about me to start off. This is my 5th year here teaching 5th grade at St. Louis. I grew up in Iowa. I graduated from Iowa State University. I am also currently working on getting my master's in technology and education with a certificate in instructional design. As well as teaching 5th grade, I am also the St. Louis CYO volleyball coordinator. I've coached 2 teams of volleyball every year that I've been here. And last year was my first year as head track coach, but of course we didn't have a season, so I'm hoping to get to coach this year. That's a picture of me and my husband. My husband's name is Nick. He works for Amazon as a software engineer, and that's the reason that we moved out to Seattle. So the first thing I'm going to show you is our online schedule, and I will be sending this out to all of you tonight after our meeting. So as you can see, and as you probably already have realized, we start every day at 8:10. We always start with attendance, prayer, pledge. We have a lot of built-in breaks during the day. The kids still get to go to their specialist every day. And then we are done with class by 12:30 every day. And then this time slot from 12:30 to 2:30 is going to be office hours / work time for the kids. And so what that means is that they won't need to log on to a video unless they have questions for me. I'm going to be available for those 2 hours. And then there might be times where I might work with a small group or work with specific kids that I know need extra help. Otherwise, I'm working on creating some sort of sign-up sheet so that way the kids can see like when I'm available, if they have questions, and it's really easy for me to pop on and video chat with them or just chat over the Microsoft Teams chat. So that's a general overview of our schedule. Does anyone have any questions before I dive into the curriculum? All right, the other thing I want to mention here is this one-on-one check-in. And so what that means is that starting probably next week, I'm going to be scheduling like 5-minute one-on-one time with each student. I'll meet with each student every 2 weeks. And this is just time for me to check in with, what things are going well, what are some things they're struggling with, kind of like mental wellness checks is what we're calling them. All right, so just a quick overview of all of the curriculum. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but I'll give this to you so you can look at it in more detail later if you want. For math, we work with Mr. Neil Braden, who is the middle school math specialist. And so what happens is that he takes 1/3 of 5B, 1/3 of 5A, and is their full-time math teacher for 1 trimester. That way, all 3 5th grade math teachers can be working with smaller groups. Whether we're online or in person, this is what's going to happen. And so your child will be with me for 2 trimesters and Mr. Neil for 1 trimester. And let's see, he is going to pop on. Oh, Braden, are you there?
Right now.
Awesome.
Hello, perfect timing. Okay, hello everybody. I am Mr. Neil, Braden Neil. I am the new math specialist, as Mrs. Cervantes has already stated. But I just wanted to pop in and kind of put a face to the name. As she might have said already, I will be getting all of the students at some point this year that are in 5th grade. And so I will have your child if they are in 5th grade. But I wanted you guys to meet me as well and let you know that if you have any sort of math questions, math curriculum questions, or anything along those lines, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to have, instead of sharing my screen, Val, I'm just going to say it, and then maybe you could put it in the chat as well. But my email, if you need to reach me at any point, is braden@stlouisschool.org. And with the previous session, Mrs. Cervantes has put that in. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Boom. So she has put the email in that group as well, so you can read it there. But I wanted to pop in and say hello, introduce myself, and if there are any questions that you guys are wanting to ask about math, I'd be happy to answer them. But if not, I will hand it right back to Mr. Cervantes so you guys can get going with the 5th grade curriculum night. All righty. I will hand it back to Mrs. Cervantes. All right. Well, like I said, you now have my email. I am the new math teacher here. I am excited to have all your students, and I can't wait to start this process with you all. So I will hand it back to Mrs. Cervantes. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Val.
Yep, thanks, Braden. All right. And so math, when we split the kids up, it is mixed ability grouping. Starting in 6th grade, they will be doing like an advanced math class as well as the regular math class. But in 5th grade, we still do mixed ability. And so the other thing to note with math is that it's really important the kids are still practicing their basic facts. Once we get back in the classroom, we'll be still doing our weekly time tests over multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This is going to be really important, especially once we get into doing things like fractions and long division. Knowing those basic facts are going to make things a lot easier and quicker for the students to do. For language arts, starting in October, we'll be doing a monthly book log and book report. We're going to hold off on that for now. We don't want to overload the kids too much. And the expectation is that kids are reading about 20 minutes a day. And then the other thing with language arts and math is that we do have online websites that include the textbooks for both of those. The students practiced logging onto them yesterday, so everyone's logins and passwords work and they know where to find everything. They won't be needing to log on to these regularly, just if they, for some reason, need their book, or the math has like some games or videos for each lesson if they need something extra. Also, the language arts, we will have like a weekly story and then take a comprehension test over the story on Fridays. And so if they log on to the online book, they can actually have the website read the story to them, which is pretty neat. If it's challenging for them or if they just do better reading along, that could be a useful tool. We will be doing spelling tests on Fridays. And so we are going to try using Spelling City right now. So Spelling City, the kids also practiced logging into yesterday. And we're only using it for the Friday test. And what happens is the website reads the word to them and then they type it in. There's also tons of games and practice tests. So there's a lot of different ways they can use Spelling City if they want to, optionally, to practice their weekly spelling words. Next, we have social studies and science. So Dr. Cruikshank, our other 5th grade teacher, she teaches social studies to both classes. And so as far as online learning goes, we will have social studies and science twice a week, but then once we are in class, we will have it 3 times a week. And then I teach science to both classes, and I have moved the curriculum around a little bit in hopes that when we are back in the classroom, we'll be able to do more hands-on stuff in the lab. So I'm trying to do the other part of the curriculum that doesn't require as much hands-on first. That way we can still get that time together. For religion in 5th grade, we mostly focus on the sacraments. The religion textbook is not available online, but I don't think the kids will need it anyway. The other thing that we do in 5th grade is in the spring, we do have family life, which is God's gift of human reproduction, which is the basic 5th grade Catholic sex ed. And so what happens is we split up the boys and girls, boys in one room with Mr. Fuerte, girls in one room with myself and Dr. Cruikshank. And the first day they learn the basics of their own gender and what changes they can expect at puberty. The second day they learn about the opposite gender. And then the third day is like the very basic Catholic sex ed, sexual reproduction. So we will be giving you more information on exactly when this is happening and little booklets that talk about what we go over before we get there. But just want to give you a heads up because I haven't mentioned this to parents right away before, and then when it comes, they're surprised, so I want to let you know. Our 5th grade service project is that both 5th grade classes sponsor a different person who lives in an orphanage. So we have Carla, who lives in Mexico, and this is through NPH, if you're familiar with that program. And so we have a woman named Gloria who works for the St. Louis Parish, who works really closely with NPH. She has gone to the orphanages and has visited the kids and has pictures, and she is going to be doing a presentation with the kids at some point to talk to them about Carla. And we get like her daily schedule, and we'll write letters to her and things like that. And then usually what we do is have the kids bring in $1 or $2 every month. This year, we are just going to have a link set up to make a one-time donation for the year. And then every month we have the kids either submit or tell us how they earned money for that service. So they did an extra chore around the house, or it was their birthday money or something like that, to show what service they did in order to get that money to Carla. For the behavior plan, on Teams, we went over the expectations, and I sent you the expectations in an email yesterday. While we're in person, we really focus on a positive environment. Also, when we're on Teams, we do that as well. And we have stop, think, write slips, otherwise known as like these little orange slips that if we've given them warnings and they continue to have behaviors that we don't want to see in the classroom, they will stay in for a few minutes during recess and kind of write out what happened, and we meet with them and we'll talk with you, but we don't need to focus on that right now. Any questions about any of the curriculum before I move on? I feel like I'm going through this kind of fast, so let me know if you have any questions or if I'm not clear on anything. All right. Next these are all of the websites that your students may use, whether we're in person or for online learning. So Microsoft Teams is our home base, and I have all of these links on Microsoft Teams if they need. I also recommend that these all get bookmarked on your child's laptop so they're easy to access. Microsoft Teams is where we have our virtual meetings. I put files, and let me just show you. So your child's will look a little different because I'm in a lot more teams than they are, but they should be in teams for each subject. And so 5B Cervantes is kind of our homeroom page. And under files, I have things like our daily planner, which already has today. And this is going to show what we did in class today and then what their homework was. I'm going to try to have this up on Teams in this folder every day by the time students start their independent work time. That way, during their independent work time, if they're not sure what they should be doing, they can reference back to this and say, oh yeah, I need to finish whatever it is we did together in class, or I need to do my homework. We also are having them write in their planners every day. So already today they wrote in their planners what their homework was, but I'm also doing this just to keep us organized. And then as well as files, today we did Flipgrid, which is kind of a fun application all through Teams, which is nice, keeping it all together rather than another website. And so this is a way for the kids to share videos over certain topics. So we're doing some get to know you stuff right now. Today they did a video on if they had to put 5 items in a bag that best showcase who they are, what would they be? So if you haven't seen these yet, you should check it out because they're really fun and they're really cute. And then they can reply to each other with video, things like that. So trying to keep as much on Teams as we can. And then let me go back to our presentation here. Skyward, this is the whole school uses Skyward as our grade book. Most of their assignments will be submitted on Skyward. And when I say submitted, I mean we're trying to avoid hard copy. So we don't want them taking pictures and turning it in because we found last year that pictures were blurry and they were sideways, and it was just really hard to deal with. So Dr. Cruikshank and I have been working on typing up all of their assignments. That way the kids can go on and just fill in the answers and then submit it. And the nice thing about it being on Skyward, since this is their grade book, is that I can grade it and it just is directly in their grade book. And if there's anything missing, it's really easy to see that it's missing or it's late through Skyward. There may be some assignments on Teams, especially like collaborative stuff. If we're doing like a class PowerPoint and these two kids are on this slide or whatever, that works better for Teams. But for the most part, assignments and tests will be on Skyward. I already told you the language arts and math. These are their online textbook. They'll mostly be using their physical books, but these are resources if they ever need it. And then Spelling Studio, we're going to try out for now. We're still kind of playing around with that. We're not totally sold on if that's going to work or not. So we're going to try it, see how it goes to do their spelling on there. And then all their usernames and passwords can be found on the front cover of the students' planners, which they should know by now because we've been practicing logging in over the last couple of days. Something that we realized today is that the very first time you logged onto Microsoft Teams, it prompted you to change your password. So the password that's currently in their planner for Teams is going to be different than whatever it is you changed it to. So you might want to change that on their planner for them. That way they have it. Because some of the kids today, we realized, didn't know what their Teams password was because that changed. All right, is there any questions over our logins and our websites that we're using? All right, fabulous. The next thing with organization and homework. So like I said, we've been writing our homework in our planners every day. Just like if you were here last year, they have binders where they're going to file their papers. So today we organize their binders. We put on the page protectors with each subject. And so once it's time to file, they'll put all of their finished assignments into their binders to keep it organized. And the big thing here is that, as you can see from our schedule, all of our classes are only 30 minutes long. So it's really important that before class starts, the kids already have all their supplies ready to go. We just don't have time for kids to be kind of running around trying to find their book or their pencil or whatever. So before the meetings start, I'll always have a screen up that says, this is what you need for today's meeting. If they ever need anything special that's not their usual supplies, I'll let them know way in advance as well. For late assignments, normally in 5th grade, we say 50% off if in the first trimester for late, and then it's a 0 in the second and third trimesters if it's late. Obviously, with online learning, we're going to be a little bit more flexible as we're all kind of adjusting and figuring out where things go and how to do it. But then we will start by the second trimester, be kind of hitting harder on that because it is a lot of extra work for us and for the kids to be, catching up on late assignments. And because of our assignments kind of build on each other, they didn't do yesterday's math. Today's math is going to be even more challenging. So. And then the last one, this is a question I get a lot, which is why I included the slide, is how involved should parents be? So 5th grade is kind of this fun time where kids are becoming a lot more independent, and some kids are really independent and don't need any parent help. Some kids still need their parents checking over their stuff. So especially at the beginning of the year and with all the changes happening, we ask that parents are checking their planners and just checking in with their kids, like, did you do this? Where did you do it? And your kids, how much they need of that. I think that's the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory, and I'll send it all to you. The other thing I want to show you on Teams is that we are recording our lessons. So like today in religion, if you go under files, class materials, and the kids know this too, under class recordings, like today's the 10th. So here you can find the video of our class today. So if your child was gone at all, or if they missed something or they need to review something, they can find the video on Teams as well. And I think that's about all I have. I feel like I kind of went through that fast. Does anyone have any questions, any concerns? I guess one more thing that a parent asked in our last meeting was regarding tests. So for tests, we are going to be typing them into Skyward and setting a specific time that the kids take the test. So it'll be during our regular school hours. So like if we have a language arts test, it'll be during our language arts time, and the kids will know that they should be logged on at 12 o'clock to 12:30, and the test will only be open for that time. So that kind of, and then we can see who's in progress, who hasn't started it yet, so we can check up with them. And so that's one way for us to kind of keep the kids accountable. It's not taking them 12 hours to finish a test, because that wouldn't make sense. Any questions? Anything you're worried about? Anything you want to know?
Hey, Val,
Hi.
it's Anne-Marie. Sorry, I'm in our Leo's. I thought I could do it on my own.
Oh, that's
This
fine.
was really a lot. This was really a lot tonight because this is different from last year because the kids don't know this stuff. Is there going to be like a printout or something of the curriculum as far as like the PowerPoint slides that you can post so we can print it out as far as like expectations for this year?
So do you mean
What
like
you just went through? It was really, it was a lot to read in a short amount of time. So like, I want to read through it later.
Yeah, I'm going to send out the PowerPoint I just shared with you. I'm going to send it to all the parents, as well as our schedule and a few other random attachments that go with this year.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Also too, I know we had problems today, like I was at school, but we had problems today. Is there a way we can like check in with the kids as far as like every week as far as like what's going on with this stuff? Because like again, I think I'm going to speak on my, like from last year, it's like this is all new for the kids as far as where to post stuff and like all these different sites. So I'm like wondering if we can just check in and kind of see where the kids are at as far as like getting stuff submitted. They know what's going on, even the parents, because this is totally new for us too.
Yeah, definitely. And I understand it is a lot and it's overwhelming. Yeah, so another thing is that in the chat, there is an area for the students to send us private messages. You guys are welcome to send us private messages there as well if you need. And then, like I showed earlier, I have a file that I'm going to be uploading every day over what we did in class that day, what's expected for them as homework. So you as a parent are totally welcome to come on here and check with your kid if you want to over kind of what they've done and, make sure that they kind of got all this done. And then, like I was saying, like today when we took the benchmark test, I could see right away who had started it, who hadn't started it. So I could video call those kids right away and say, hey, I noticed you haven't started it. Do you need help logging in? What's going on? So we are kind of doing all that as well.
Okay.
But
yeah. And so as far as like if we need to like follow up, should we get onto their account? Like I wasn't supposed to be on Leo's account. It didn't go through my Gmail account logging in. It came into his because I'm using this computer here. So I don't know what happened there, but I wasn't sure as far as like if there's a way to kind of to look in as far as like other than Skyward, as far as another way we can kind of figure out what's going on with assignments and homework.
Yeah, so all of the assignments will be on Skyward as far as like what's due and what's being graded. And then everything else is going to be on this. This is like exactly everything we did today during math. This is what we did in class. This is what's expected of them as homework. So you can kind of see exactly what happened. And if you like today for religion, they were supposed to glue some papers into their notebook. So you could go on here and check and then say, hey, I want to check with you and see, did you do this? And we'll be checking too, like, hey, hold it up. Let me see that you've done it. So, but yeah, and if you want to, you can send us private chat through your child's account. Just say, hey, it's Anne-Marie or whatever. that totally works, or you can send me emails or whatever is easier for you. I'm totally open to anything. I've already had some parents that email me through their child's Teams chat, and that works great if that works with you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And we know this is, I mean, it's a lot for us. It's a lot for you guys. It's a lot for the parents. I totally get that. I'm not trying to completely overwhelm you here with information, or the kids. I know these last couple of days, the kids have really done so well, like trying to learn how to log on to everything and get to everything. And they've done a really good job. So yesterday we went on Skyward and took a practice assignment just to make sure we knew how to submit it. And every single student did it. So that was good. And then we had another one today, and most of the kids had done it last time I checked, but we'll get in the swing of it.
All right.
I have a quick question. This is Teresa. I'm Apollo's mom. So in the spring, when the kids were doing online learning, obviously they had a lot less time with teachers. And so there was kind of this expectation that parents were doing a lot more of the teaching of the material. I know you said, the lessons are shorter than they normally would be. Do you have some expectations around like how much of the teaching parents should be doing, or should we not be planning to do that? Or like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, I'm not expecting parents to be doing really any of the teaching unless, your child has, the nice thing about our schedule is that because we have 2 full hours of independent work time here at the end of every day, and I will be online at this time, even if your child does have a question, oh, I don't understand how to do this math problem, they can just video chat with me and I can see exactly what they're doing and help them. So I don't expect parents to be having to do much. And if you are, please let me know, because that means that I might be giving too much or not being clear enough on something. So we do have shorter times, but we've also condensed the curriculum down a lot. There's a lot of things that we've already started cutting out and are kind of focusing on what the kids really need to know. So yeah, I don't expect the parents to have to be doing too much teaching, mostly just kind of checking up and making sure, like checking their planners. Oh, did you get your homework done or whatever? But even that, it's so nice to have these private chats with the kids that if I see they haven't done something like on Skyward, I can give them a quick reminder. Hey, I noticed you still haven't done this, and I can kind of figure out why. So I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I kind of expect that during those 2 hours of independent work time, I don't expect the kids to have really anything more to do after that's over. 2 hours is a long time to be doing homework. I expect that most of them will have what they need done like after that time. All right, so there's a question about using Teams from your phones. So yeah, you can use Teams from your phones or like use your child's Teams from phone. That's totally fine. Some parents find that easier to get notifications right there. The kids can use Teams on like a iPad or phone, but when we're actually doing if they're just like doing like a chat to me or something, but when we're actually doing live meetings, it normally works better to have the computer, because sometimes I have them like type things in the chat as we're meeting, which is like harder to do on a phone or an iPad. But I'm pretty sure using Teams on your phone will have the same features and access as using it on the computer. And I know you can be logged in from multiple devices at the same time too. So if your kid's on the computer during a live meeting, you can be on their account on your phone and there won't be any problems with that. It won't kick someone out or anything. I hope that's what you're asking and that makes sense. Perfect. All right, any other questions or concerns, anything you're worried about or excited for, or any thoughts at all?
Hi, it's Apollo's mom again.
Hi.
I noticed as you were going through the curriculum, the History Maker project was listed there, and I wasn't reading fast enough to notice if there were other projects called out. Can you just talk a little bit about some of the projects that they'll do this year?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so History Maker is our big 5th grade project. If you have had a 5th grade before, you'll know that. Basically, it's a combined language arts, science, social studies project where the kids are doing research on a scientist or historian of their choice. And we teach them how to take notes on note cards, and they do like a birth certificate, and they write a newspaper article and diary entries in that person's point of view and things like that. Super fun, like 2-month project that we really spent a lot of time on together. Depending on if we're online or not still at that point, we usually do it in the spring. It might look a little bit different. Another big project that we do is Science Showcase. So for 5th grade, Science Showcase at the end of the year is like a traditional science fair project. So we go through, hypothesis and steps and materials and procedure and all that. And they buy like the classic 3-paneled boards, and they have all the information there, and they choose what project they want, and it's all about exploration and stuff. So that's kind of our big science project. Other than that, that's kind of the main big stuff for 5th grade that I can think of on the top of my head. Religion is mostly sacraments. In science, we do a unit on periodic table of elements. We do a unit on the cells. We do a unit on mixtures and solutions. I think that's kind of the main big stuff that I can think of right now. It's a good question. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, that's all I've got. I will.
I have one question. Hey.
Yeah, no, totally. Keep them coming. We still have a lot of time, so.
Do you have, or do you plan to do any group activity or teamwork while they are working online, or just when they come back to classroom?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we depending on how long we're online, we're not going to do a lot of group work right away because we're still kind of getting used to everything. But I've been talking with the 7th grade teachers. They've been using Teams for a couple of years on how we could do group work. And so we are planning on maybe doing some small group assignments, group projects. We want to do read some novels as a class for language arts. And so when we do that, we put the kids into small groups to do like book talks. So if we're still online in a couple of months, or I'll have to look at exactly on how we're going to do that. But we are planning on doing some stuff in groups, especially with like the book talks and stuff. And we've kind of figured out a way to do that within the teams so that the teachers can still oversee it. Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we're going to work with our room moms on doing some lunch socials and maybe finding some ways that the kids can still socialize in other ways, because I know that's a big part that they're missing while we're online. We're trying to find more ways for them to get to know each other. We've got 2 new students in my class this year, and I think 2 new students in the other 5th grade class this year. So we're trying to find ways for everybody to kind of get to know each other. All right, anything else? If you have any questions, please send me an email or send me a chat through Teams. I'll be sending out all this information tonight, as well as the recorded meeting if you need it. Otherwise, that's all I've got. So you're free to go.
Thank you so much, Val.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We're going to have a good year. Yes.
Yes, it's going to be so good. These last couple of days have already been it's been a lot, but it has been really good. The kids are really fun and they're hanging in there. I know these last couple of days have been kind of boring because we're just trying to figure out how to do everything, but they're really fun. They're really cute. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to have them and get started.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I don't think I know.